Hello, my freaky darlings. Welcome back. This week, I'm going to be talking about sirens and mermaids. Now, when I was a little girl, I'd swim in my parents' pool and pretend I was a mermaid. They were beautiful and sweet, and there was that whole Ariel vibe while I was growing up. But as I got older, Disney princesses were replaced by Greek myths. And dangerous sirens were a whole lot more fascinating than sweet little mermaids. So, what's the difference between mermaids and sirens besides their demeanors, you might ask? The answer is quite a lot, actually. Firstly, and this is probably the main difference, sirens aren't half fish, they're half bird. And secondly, mermaids aren't the ones who sing, sirens do. Mermaids have been in myths and legends since their first appearance in ancient Babylonian stories. Yeah, that's how fucking far back it goes. It's not just Disney that has mermaids. Just saying. Hera, the fish god, was half man and half fish. After that, it was the Greek god Triton. It was also the Greeks who gave us the first descriptions of mermaids. Living specimens were apparently examined by writers such as Pausanias in the 2nd century, and were said to have scales covering their entire bodies, gills, a fish-like mouth, and a scaly tail like a dolphin's. So, not the hot and sexy creatures we've gotten used to in modern pop culture. Definitely more on the scary side, like in Cabin in the Woods, where the guy gets killed by a merman and his blood is sprayed from the merman's a-hole and just sprays everywhere. I love that scene. And what can I say? I love that movie. I think I need to rewatch it. Anyway, the narratives of Greek mythology gave rise to the tale of the mermaids that were so popular in later mythology. The sea nymphs were given the features traditionally associated with mermaid. Half beautiful woman, half fish. These enchanted creatures were well known to mingle with humans and bear children. Achilles' mother was apparently a mermaid. Some Greek families still claim mermaid blood in their lineage, much like some Irish families claim to be descended from merrows, who are similar to mermaids except they have human legs instead of a fishtail. Anyway, mermaids were found anywhere there was water, including sphinx and whales. While mermaids have always been enchanting, it's been their looks and not their singing voice that did the enchanting. It was the sirens that were known for their singing voices. Their voices were supposedly so beautiful that sailors would forget what they were doing and just stop to listen. As a result, ships would crash on the rocks around the Sirens' Island, killing those who fell prey to their song. And as I said earlier, sirens were never half women and half fish creatures. According to the original myth, there were only 3 sirens, and they started out as mortal human women who were the handmaidens of Persephone, daughter of the goddess Demeter. When Persephone was abducted by Hades, Demeter gave the 3 girls the bodies of birds to help search for the lost girl. When they couldn't find her, they eventually gave up and went to live on the island of Anthemusa, and were cursed by Demeter, who was pissed that they'd abandoned the search and had to remain in their half-bird form, which isn't really fair if you think about it, since Persephone was in the underworld, and how the fuck were they supposed to fly into the underworld and find her? It's kind of really not fair. But anyway, and to make matters worse, the sirens were further cursed when they entered a singing competition with the muses and lost the contest, and the wings, and many of the feathers. Those poor girls. And there was this prophecy that should anyone be able to resist their song, the sirens would die. So when Odysseus had his men block their ears and tied himself to the mast of his ship so he could listen but not interfere, the sirens hurled themselves into the sea and died as he passed, fulfilling the prophecy. And that's just not fair, is it? Once again, they really had a shit one. So Sirens and mermaids have been confused for a long time. Well before Piers Anthony and C.S. Lewis assigned mermaids their singing voices. Thomas Hocclev's La Malrègle, written in the 15th century, refers to mermaids luring sailors to their death with their song. It is a combination of the two creatures that has persisted throughout the centuries. According to sailors' logs and records dating back to the 1600s, mermaids were thought to be very real, although sadly debunked. The myth of the mermaid has continued, with some sightings being reported as recently as 2009. I shit you not. So, which do you prefer? The original scary version of the mermaid, or the cursed sirens, or the more modern amalgamation of the two? Anyway, that's it for this week. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you're interested in things that go bump in the night, conspiracy theories, urban legends, and other weird shit, please hit that subscribe button or the follow button, depending on which platform you're viewing this on. And if you've read any of my books and enjoyed them, be a freaky darling and leave a review wherever you bought it. Pretty please. Yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and if you're lucky enough to go out on the ocean and hear a beautiful woman singing, block your ears and you might end up on the rocks.